I feel like it's been a long time. And we need some Gorka. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Gorka. Gorka. There he is. That hurts a little bit. Jam my jaw that far back into my neck. Gorka. Oh, thanks, Mealy. This is my road rig. Thanks. I'm glad you like the orange set. I'll use it more often if that helps. Gorka. Oh, Gorka. And this. I'm fascinated by this idea, and I totally believe it. Trump has never been more excited, happier, and more proud than he has been once he's under indictment. Yeah, only an hour today because I got to get on the road. President Trump in extraordinary mood after Bragg indictment, and the pills have very little to do with it.
Matt Boyle,
oh, God.
Washington bureau chief for the conservative juggernaut that is Breitbart. Happy Monday, Matt.
Jesus
Dr.
Christ.
G, always a pleasure to be here.
All right, and we've
Dr.
got you live
G,
on.
Dr. G is super great or whatever. Anyways, I gotta cut this short because I got an incel meeting in about 2 hours, and I'm in charge of cookies tonight. Gorka.
That's a big deal. Technology is no barrier for this man. All right, so NRA convention, President Trump gave a speech there, and then I believe you got to have a chat with him, Matt.
Yeah, and that's when you want to talk to him because nothing better than him at an NRA meeting where he cannot fire a gun. Insofar as I know, Trump has never fired a gun. I don't know if there's footage of it. Well, maybe look up. There has to be some. At this point, it's fucking America. Who hasn't got footage of themselves in the Instagram era shooting a machine gun at this point?
Yeah, so we spent about a half an hour after his speech talking about a whole number of different things. Obviously, we talked about the arraignment.
Obviously. And I gave him a great plan for how to solve homelessness with a giant camp in the middle of Nebraska.
And there's a lot more stories that are going to be coming out in the coming days.
That's weird. Have you told the news? Are they ready?
About that and what was going through his mind when he was on, going through that and sitting there.
If anything, I think it's kind of you, sir, to assume that anything is going through his mind.
That table, that infamous photo that everybody can see.
That fabulous photo, not infamous, fabulous.
Oh, it's great. It's so wonderful, Gorka.
Right, fabulous, right? Like, so
it is fabulous. That's the word you would use, Yeah, I'm not so. Sorry, I might need to pause more often if they're going to be this macho.
Talked about that. We talked a lot about the state of the race. He knows.
I'm sorry, but it's very concerning whenever Trump and race becomes a conversation. But okay.
We all know it. Everyone knows it. Donald Trump is the front runner for the Republican nomination.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In a party ticket that has the runs already, he's definitely the first one out of the chute.
Presidency, but also arguably the front-running candidate in either party right now.
Yes. Yeah. If he ran for the Democratic nomination, he'd get it. And don't get me started on the Forward Party.
For the presidency. That's including the incumbent Democrat President Joe Biden, President Trump.
We got to give him credit for admitting he's president. That's good.
Arraignment has led in 3 national surveys, 2 from YouGov, 1 from Rasmussen Reports.
Really, Rasmussen? I would have never guessed that Rasmussen would go with Trump. And YouGov as well? That's weird. So you're saying the same ones that said he was going to win in 2020? Okay, just clarifying.
President Biden in a general election in national polling. So what we're starting to see, there's a poll also that came out that shows him in a virtual tie with President Biden in
a virtual tie.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, until he starts talking, and then something happens.
One of the key battleground states there, Rust Belt state.
Hang on. Scranton Joe doesn't have Pennsylvania locked in?
No, he does not have Pennsylvania locked down. So the poll showed Biden at 30.
Yes, never mind the fact that this poll is in the rural parts of Pennsylvania.
Trump at 35. That's a virtual tie for those of us in the media who track these. So President Trump knows that he's in the lead, right?
Yes, he seems like it. I think the late night all caps screaming at the sky, really, it just reeks winter.
The way I would describe it is he was on cloud nine. He was on top of the world.
Right? High, I think is the word you're looking for. So a fresh batch of Adderall had arrived with his benzos.
He knows that he's in the lead for the White House right now of either party. He's on fire right now, and he's also unifying the Republican Party behind him. So in the moments,
yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And where did he get this idea? Besides the sycophants around him like Stephen Miller, who only let him see the good news.
Up to our interview with President
Gorka.
Trump in Indianapolis after his NRA speech, Senator Ted Budd from North Carolina endorsed him. And then in the moments after our interview, because he had flown directly from Indianapolis down to Nashville, where he had done the keynote address at the RNC meetings there, the Republican National Committee.
Yes, basically the same shit he said at the NRA meeting, which is in great taste.
Meetings there in Nashville. Both U.S. senators from Tennessee now have endorsed President Trump in the last 24 hours.
Yes. And that's, I mean, shocking. What a huge turn of events. You don't say that the Tennessee senators are going with the Republican who's out front. Really? How did that happen? It's amazing. It really speaks to Trump's ability to create a big tent, wouldn't you say?
Marshall
Gorka.
Blackburn, the senior senator from Tennessee, this morning, and last night, Senator Bill Hagerty, the junior senator from Tennessee, both of whom, by the way, are U.S. senators in large part because of President Trump.
And would go with the Republican every time anyways?
President Trump knows that he's got...
President Trump knows that he's got general support amongst the most maggoty Republicans and a bit of an ice skate uphill for anybody else. And that's why he feels great, He's definitely feeling that it's time to launch that pineapple farm.
And by the way, I would point you back to 2016. He's in a much stronger position than 2016. We talked about that.
No. Did he say that, or did you say that to him, and that's why he kept talking to you? Because you do realize that if you want to do an interview with Trump, you have to drop these, you're doing so great. Have you seen, I just saw a recent poll. You may not have even seen it yet, but you basically already won. And that's how you get an extra 10 minutes out of this dipshit?
Because in 2016, the first U.S. senator to endorse him was the then Senator Jeff Sessions, and that wasn't until...
That worked out well for both of them.
After several states had already voted. He had already won New Hampshire and South Carolina, and Iowa had already voted. He has...
Okay, first of all, this is a normal conversation about any incumbent or former president running in a situation, because the one thing that they do have is a comparative position from when they ran before and won, even before they lost. In this particular case, if you're talking about like Biden running again or Obama running again, there's always that conversation about known entity versus unknown entity. I don't know what the fuck this guy thinks is. Good Lord.
U.S. senators backing his campaign.
Yeah, he's doing way better than people who aren't running yet.
Right now, and more on the way from what I hear. In addition to that, he's very pleased that Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida here has endorsed his campaign as
okay, so you're telling me he's nailed down Tennessee and Florida. Dear God, what a turning point for Republicans.
That was a shocker to a lot of people because Byron Donalds is particularly close with Governor DeSantis.
And their wives as well are apparently very close.
Gorka.
Yes, and Byron Donalds even introduced Governor DeSantis at his re-election.
By the way, everybody, psst, lean in. we don't have to actually give a shit about this part of it or whatever. But just, I want you to enjoy the fact that the shock that a Republican congressperson is endorsing the former president of the United States for a re-election campaign is amazing to them because of the other Republican in the race. Popcorn, anyone?
Party in Tallahassee on election night in November 2022. And Erica Donalds, Byron's wife, the congressman's wife, is serving on a board appointed by Governor DeSantis to a state board. So they have been particularly close. So that was a real shocker endorsement. But there's more and more that keeps happening here, and it's pretty.
Yeah, it's lots going on. So much is going on with the polls that are polling, and it's amazing that Trump is doing as well as he is doing as a former incumbent, who, is up against somebody who, from a charisma point of view, is really lightning in a bottle. Somebody like Ron DeSantis should be running away with this because the man is magic. I mean, move over, Kennedys. Step aside, Barack Obama. If anybody can talk himself into a free lunch, it's Ron DeSantis. I mean, the man, he's got intellect and appeal of some sort. And the fact that, Trump isn't neck and neck with him is amazing.
President Trump.
It's unbelievable.
Solidifying his position in the Republican Party. And again,
he's solidified. He was the fucking president. He was the head of your party. Solidifying his position. You do realize this is terrible news, right? You do realize your party is shit. If the guy who won is trying to run again and he's like, I think he's got a shot. Jesus Christ, you guys, what? Why did these folks not recognize this is a terrible conversation?
He knows that he's
but Matt, there's this peculiar thing that almost 3 weeks ago, the Florida State House changed the constitution of the state to allow an incumbent senator to run for another office.
Governor.
Why isn't DeSantis declaring? I don't get it. They've made it possible. Is it likely that he may not even run and his polling figures are so bad he's going to wait till...
Yeah, his polling figures are so bad. He's like at 30% in the party when Trump's 46%. And if Trump drops out or can't go or gets convicted, like the number goes up to where he's the head of... But of course he's not going to fucking bow out. And he's going to save announcing till he's in a normal window because he's not a lunatic running from a criminal conviction.
Hey.
I don't know. At this stage...
YouGov average of polls April 14th to 17th, Biden beats Trump by 6 points. That's exactly where it is in reality. You're absolutely right, Bike Shop Guru.
I fully still expect him to try to run, but...
Try. All right. Oh, you mean like Trump is trying to run. I see. Is that how Republicans define it now?
Maybe he's starting to have second thoughts about it. Maybe
that, I don't know. Gorka.
Starting to
By the way, the fact that these two aren't a sitcom, I don't understand it. How are they not the two weird neighbors who live together next door on a huge American sitcom? How is it? I mean, look at them. It's comedy gold. Gorka and the Dweeb. I'm telling you, maybe Cartoon Network? Something?
Especially as he's dropped fast in...
The dud couple? Come on.
Very hard. Look, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been at Breitbart now for more than 10 years. I can...
1.5 men, each of them being 3/4.
I've tracked these races for years and years and years.
Yes, you seem like a fellow who's been tracking the races for a very long time.
I've never seen anything like his drop in the national polls that we've seen, and in several key states. And this was some of the things that we talked about with President Trump, because as you're seeing...
Yeah, because if you're talking to Trump, what you want to bring up is how shitty DeSantis is doing. Again, that buys you another, 3 minutes of conversation with the asshole. He'll then, Oh, people are saying.
DeSantis drop, you're seeing Trump rise, and all
Yes, Trump rises like furniture from the ashes.
these different states. Texas, I mean, you're talking about 30, 40-point swings since the end of last year towards President Trump, away from Governor DeSantis in
Who hasn't announced yet?
Texas. You're talking about double-digit leads in Florida. President Trump leads by double digits in Florida.
And a list of people like, of the people running, who do you think you'll vote for? And there's like Trump and Ramaswamy, and that's it. So, and some people will write in, like, they'll put in DeSantis even though he's not technically running, and that's why his numbers are low.
The state that just realized.
I don't, by the way, none of us give a shit. They let them bite each other's ankles. This is silly.
Governor DeSantis. You see South Carolina, New Hampshire, Iowa, all have, the first three states, all have double-digit leads for President Trump.
Yeah, and honestly, nothing about the classified documents case is going to look bad at all for national security-oriented, middle-of-the-road Republican voters at all. None of them are going to stay home because fuck that guy. So, you know, the important thing is that he polls almost at 50%. When he was the actual president, and he could be again, technically. He won't be, but technically he could be. Good Lord.
There's not a single state out there since the indictment or arraignment where DeSantis is leading. So maybe he is considering.
Look, I think.
Yeah, maybe he's learned his lesson, you know, that the Republican Party is not going to support you and is not going to actually, no one wants to vote for you unless you have at least 2 indictments and 1 sexual assault charge against you concurrent while you're running. It's just not, otherwise it's not exciting. You know what I'm saying? What if I do? What if I talk like this all the time?
You know, let's do the American thing. Let's have a primary. But come on, if you're gonna run, declare. If Vivek Ramaswamy,
yeah, do run,
declare.
Sorry, that was such a dick move, Gorka.
You can too. We're talking to Matt Boyle. He'll be with us for another segment. Don't.
I don't think so. I don't know if I could take another segment of Matt Boyle. I was bored when you introduced him.
Go anywhere. Follow him right now. Truth Social.
No, I'm not following him. Okay, he's back.
Swimming pool, Lilo. Was it like a little bit like Tippy?
I was joking with you during the break. Yeah, first off, yes, I've been to Guam. I went there in 2017 when Trump was president. As for whether or not Guam is going to tip over, no, it is not going to tip over ever.
All the fun they have. This is good. And I thought I was going to miss some of the fun. And this was so, you know, full of, because it's informative as well. And also very humorous. It's just such a great show. Such a great show. Very exciting. It's very. I'm sorry, why am I supposed to give a shit about these 2 idiots again?
It is an island, just like a Hawaiian island or.
Jesus Christ. I don't know is this what their shows are like all the time? Bye. I fucking can't. I don't have time for this shit.